Here is the rewritten script in very simple English, casual, gossip style, same length, line by line, no extra info, no shortcuts, no timestamps. Who would guess that Robin Gibb hid a huge secret from his fans and everyone else for years? A secret that finally made everything click. It wasn't until he was 62 that he finally told the truth, that we all kinda guessed Robin Gibb, one of the main singers of the super-famous Bee Gees, was loved for his crazy good voice and that quiet, mysterious vibe. But what was he really hiding behind that cool look? Come on, let's spill the tea. The Bee Gees started super small with 3 Gibb brothers who were just super talented kids, totally in love with music harmony and being on stage when Robin was born with his twin brother Maurice in December 1949. They later started a band with their big brother Barry back in the 1950s. The boys got totally obsessed with music. They borrowed their big sister Leslie's records and listened to Elvis Presley, Tommy Steele, the Everly Brothers, and other big stars. They made pretend guitars from cardboard boxes and acted like they were rocking out. In 1956, the brothers did their very first show in public at a movie theater called the Gaumont, just a few blocks from home. All the kids there got to lip-sync songs, so they brought Leslie's records. They practiced with 2 neighbor boys named Paul Frost and Kenny Horrocks and called themselves the Rattlesnakes, right when they were about to go on the sound. Guy dropped and broke Leslie's record talk about bad luck. But the Gibb brothers weren't going to quit that easy. Lucky for them. Barry had his real guitar with him, so they just sang while he played, and guess what? All the kids went wild for it. After that, the brothers got super excited about singing and really wanted to get noticed by May 1958. The Rattlesnakes broke up because Paul Frost and Kenny Horrocks left. But the Gibb brothers, weren't stopping. They started a new band called Johnny Hayes and the Blue Cats, with Barry pretending his name was Johnny Hayes. August 1958 was the start of a big family adventure. They left England and moved all the way to Australia for a fresh start. The whole family, including big sister Leslie and little brother Andy, moved to a beach town called Redcliffe in Queensland, just northeast of Brisbane, to keep chasing music. The brothers performed a ton at Redcliffe Speedway in 1959. They sang between the car races, and this racer named Bill Good heard them and loved it so much he called his DJ friend Bill Gates, who also thought these kids were amazing because of their natural harmony. Gates recorded their songs and played them on the radio. It was Gates who came up with the name Bee Gees because it was the initials of Barry Gibb Bill Good, and Bill Gates this later turned into Bee Gees, which just meant Brothers Gibb. Their dad Hugh became their manager before they got big. Hugh made money taking photos, but as manager, he gave everything to his sons. At this point, they were already getting known. They went on Australian TV shows like Anything Goes, and Brisbane Tonight. Plus, Robin and his brothers played at theaters, nightclubs, and bars. Even though they were still kids, their dad taught them old Mills Brothers songs, and their mom Barbara picked their cute outfits. Even with all that, they were still super far from famous. Then, the brothers met Nat Kipner, an American songwriter and producer who really knew the music world. He had just become the AR manager at a brand new label called Spin Records. Kipner saw how special the Bee Gees were and really believed in them. He got excited to help them blow up, so he became their manager and moved them from Festival Records to Spin Records. This move was huge for them. They still used Festival to sell records in Australia, but Spin gave the Bee Gees a brand new chance through Kipner. They met a cool engineer named Ossie Byrne, who was just as sure they were going to be stars. Byrne let them record in his little home-built studio called St. Clair in Hurstville, Sydney. It wasn't fancy, But it let the Bee Gees play around and find their own sound from this point they started getting a little famous. Their first Australian hit, called Spicks and Specks, went to number 35 on the charts. They were doing pretty good. Then, in February 1967, something huge happened. The Bee Gees auditioned for Robert Stigwood, a super-famous music guy who was great at finding stars. The audition was awesome, and Stigwood loved them so much he signed them to a 5-year deal. Their songs would come out on Polydor in the UK and Atco in the US, which got them ready for the whole world. Soon, people started saying they sounded like the Beatles, which was exciting, but also a lot of pressure, as they started this new chapter with big support behind them. The Bee Gees were ready to be huge stars to make the band bigger. They added Colin Peterson and Vince Maloney so they could try new sounds. Their next single in Britain, New York Mining Disaster, 1941, got everyone talking. Radio stations got copies with no name on them, just the song, title, so people thought it might be a secret Beatles song. The mystery made everyone love it. And New York Mining Disaster 1941 shot up the charts, hitting the top 20 in the UK and the US. This was a super exciting moment for the Bee Gees, who really wanted the world to notice them. Finally, they were big everywhere. Fans and critics were paying attention with that energy. The Bee Gees kept going with lots of highs and lows, tons of praise and crazy pressure, while they worked super hard to stay famous. The band had some fights inside in 1968, right when things were going amazing. They had a big 7-week tour in America planned. But right before it started, Robin Gibb got super sick and had to go to the hospital. Doctors said it was nervous exhaustion from too much stress. This messed everything up and made them think hard about who should stay in the band, even when Robin was gone. Barry and Maurice kept making music, but it didn't feel right without Robin's voice. Things got really tense, and they fought about songs. The biggest fight was over the single 1st of May, where Robin wanted his song Lamplight to be the A-side, Feeling Left Out. Robin quit the Bee Gees in 1969 to do his own solo stuff. Barry and Maurice tried to keep going as a duo, but they really missed him. Their first show without Robin at Talk of the Town in London was happy, but super sad. While they worked on the album Cucumber Castle, everyone felt Robin was missing. Meanwhile, Robin had a solo hit called Saved by the Bell, which made people wonder what would happen to the Bee Gees. As Robin's solo stuff did well, it got hard for Barry and Maurice to keep the duo going. They started doing their own things, but it wasn't the same. The super close brothers were now doing separate stuff, and fans were like, will the Bee Gees ever get back together? By the middle of the 1970s, they started fixing things while on vacation in Spain. Barry thought a lot about everything that happened. Maurice called Robin and said sorry for all the old fights, and that little sorry brought the Bee Gees back together as three brothers. Again, getting back together worked great. In 1971, they put out their 9th album, Trafalgar, with the huge hit, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? This song got them back in the UK. Top 10. After some really hard years in the 70s, the Bee Gees did something surprising. They jumped into disco music, especially with Barry's crazy high falsetto songs like You Should Be Dancing, Changed Everything, and being on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack made them legends. As the 70s ended and disco started to cool off, the Bee Gees songs still touched people's hearts. They became real music icons with a huge impact that lasted way past their time. By the end of 1979, disco was dying fast, and that was really tough for the Bee Gees people. Suddenly hated disco, and fans and critics turned away from it, since the Bee Gees were the kings of disco. They had a hard time radio stations, and crowds didn't want disco anymore. Plus, they had court drama. when a guy said they stole parts of How Deep Is Your Love. At first, the court said the Bee Gees lost because they didn't bring good proof. But a few months later, the court changed its mind and said they were innocent, even though the whole thing stressed them out a lot. Even with all the hard stuff, the Bee Gees never stopped loving performing and their super close connection with fans. At one concert, they honored their little brother Andy, who had passed away, by playing his voice on their song Don't Throw It All Away. It was such a sweet, sad moment that showed Andy's spirit and how much the brothers loved each other. The crowd was crying. This beautiful moment made the Bee Gees realize how magical their bond with fans was. So Barry, Robin, and Maurice started a huge world tour called One Night Only. The fans made it amazing. It was a giant success, gave their career new life, and brought them back to fans everywhere. The tour gave the Bee Gees new energy, and they kept performing, loving this new wave of fame. But then, health problems started hitting the band hard in 2002. Maurice Gibb, the funny sweetheart of the group, got really sick out of nowhere. He went to the hospital and sadly passed away. Barry and Robin were totally heartbroken. With Maurice gone, the three-brother Bee Gees had to end. They decided to retire the Bee Gees name to honor Maurice, and that closed their legendary story. His death hurt Barry and Robin so much, but their love for each other and music never went away. In 2006, Barry and Robin performed together for the first time since Maurice died. It wasn't a big show, just a charity event in Miami, but it meant the world. It was simple but super strong, and showed they would always carry their family's music in the years after Robin got really sick. Doctors found liver cancer. It got worse slowly, but he kept fighting quietly. Even when he had to cancel shows, he still talked to fans, and everyone thought he was so brave. In an interview, Robin's son, Robin John Gibb, told a secret nobody knew. Every news story had it wrong. It wasn't the cancer that killed his dad. John said his dad had already beaten the cancer. It was almost gone. It was kidney failure that took his dad's life. This explains why what Robin said in February sounded so different from how fast things got bad in March. It probably scared other sick people, thinking, wow, if it happened to Robin Gibb, it could happen to me. Back in early February, Robin told the BBC he had a tumor removed from his colon and it was basically gone. He felt awesome. He said from then on, it was just little cleanup treatments, and he was active and happy. So when he went from super positive to in a coma in April and gone in May, fans were super confused. Was he hiding how bad it was, or did it really look like he was winning? According to Robin John, neither the kidney failure was a whole separate thing, but the cancer and the hard chemo definitely made his body weaker. The Daily Express said Robin John was really upset about how the doctors couldn't agree on the best way to help his dad in the last weeks, and he wasn't happy with what the hospital did. The Sun told the paper his dad was actually okay until just 3 days before he died, when he suddenly had a seizure. John said they gave his dad medicine to calm the side effects from chemo, but his liver couldn't take it. His body got worse fast, and then his kidneys gave out. In the end, his dad passed away from kidney and liver failure while he was in a coma. Dwina Gibb was fighting her own stuff too. The couple was always super open about their marriage. He had a kid with their old housekeeper, and she said she sometimes liked girls, but after 28 years together, it was clear they still loved each other a ton. In 2009, Robin had a baby girl named Snow. Robin with their housekeeper Claire Yang, who was way younger than him. This shocked everyone, even though their marriage was kinda open. Dwina, who was an artist and a druid priestess, got super mad when she found out people said calling her reaction big would be too small. She felt totally betrayed. Robin Gibb's money after he died was said to be over $140 million. Robin John was his only kid with Dwina, but Robin also had two older kids from his first wife, Molly. Hollis, a daughter, Melissa, and a son, Spencer. His 12-year marriage to Molly, who worked for their old manager, didn't survive all the fame. She got custody of the kids, and for years Robin barely saw them. He finally reconnected when they were 12 and 10. By then, he was already married to Dwina, who he met in 1980 through her cousin while she worked at a beanbag factory in London and wanted to be an artist. Another secret people didn't talk about much was that back when the Bee Gees started. Robin got way more attention than the others. This made Barry jealous and made Robin leave for a little bit. In the late 60s, he came back, and the three brothers became one of the biggest acts of the 1970s during the disco craziness. That jealousy actually made their music better, but it also hurt their personal lives and left a long fight between Robin and Barry. That fight was still there when Robin got sick, and sadly, it never got fixed. Before he died, Barry felt super bad about their broken relationship and said beautiful things at Robin's funeral after Robin passed. Barry decided to honor everything they built together in 2013. He did his very first solo tour. It wasn't just shows. It was a big love letter to his brothers and their crazy journey. Every song felt like a bright, happy memory of their music. Love and super strong brother bond. In 2016, Capitol Records signed a deal to keep Bee Gees songs out there for new fans forever, making sure their story never fades. Even with all the family drama, their songs still make people feel things and bring fans together no matter how old they are. At the heart of their biggest hits is a story about brothers sticking together, getting back up when life knocks you down, and a legacy that's gonna live forever. Fast.